Shalom, Holy Blossom. There's a special name for this Shabbat, Shabbat Chazon, Shabbat of Vision. It is the Shabbat which immediately precedes Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the month of Av, which will be observed this Sunday at 9 o'clock at Holy Blossom. I hope you'll join us for our service with the haunting melody set to the Book of Lamentations. It's when we commemorate the destruction of Jerusalem's temples not once but twice, in 586 BCE by the Babylonians, and then again in the year 70 CE by the Romans. And many other catastrophes of Jewish history fell on or are retroactively assigned to this day, Tisha B'Av, the darkest day of the Jewish calendar. At the risk of drawing any false parallels, God forbid, I want to lift up the theme of exile for our consideration as we head into this Shabbat Chazon, Shabbat of Vision. Throughout much of the pandemic, we were without access to our beautiful temple here on Bathurst Street. Some were satisfied with live streaming. People said, "Rabbi, I get a front row seat every time." Some missed the temple terribly and would comment on how meaningful it was when the camera would catch a glimpse of some corner of the sanctuary that meant something special, like the yahrzeit lights lit on Yizkor days. And some congregants didn't realize how much they missed the temple until they returned here. On Shabbat or a holiday when they felt ready, they were moved to tears by how good it felt to be in this sacred place again, surrounded by the voices of fellow congregants at prayer. And some, beyond our congregation, those who don't yet have a synagogue to call home, don't yet know what they're missing. They aren't yet aware that there is some corner of the neshama that needs tending, mending, or even repair. I met with 3 congregants this week, all different people, each unique, but the conversation began more or less the same way. "Rabbi, I don't exactly know why I'm here today, but it just felt like it was time for me to come back to the temple and to meet with you." And then each one proceeded to share a bit of a spiritual accounting of the last year or two. Each one reflected on the spiritual autobiography of this stage of their lives, and I admire them for doing so. I thank them for trusting me with those delicate conversations, and I admire them for taking stock and for using Judaism as the lens through which they could see their own story with greater clarity and find new insight into what they seek next. This is the power of synagogue life. It is a place to attach oneself to a greater whole, a greater good. Throughout the pandemic, we have collectively and to various degrees personally experienced significant measures of exile from the people and the places and the patterns of life that we love. At every stage of life, we see it playing out. And I believe that synagogue life can be the antidote, can help us feel rooted and grounded rather than set adrift or, God forbid, in exile from the life we intend to lead. So our littlest ones that might be behind in some social development can come and be a part of our Little Blossoms programs or Tat Shabbat, and our school-age kids who are lacking self-confidence because they're out of practice can come and be with us here in our religious school or our youth groups outside of the classroom and find a whole new circle of friends. Our teens and our university students who have faced significant mental health challenges, I know because the ground has been shifting under their feet for so long. We have our senior school on Monday nights with tweens and teens, and our Hapsty Youth Lounge, which is a lot of fun. And I know that Hillel on campus has doubled down to have all kinds of resources for our university students. Our young adults might feel that they're behind in the opportunities to explore career paths, the opportunities to find love. And so we have here at Holy Blossom Yad, the young adult division, and Lishma, which is a consortium of a number of synagogues joining together to bring people in their 20s and 30s together for learning and holiday celebration and just getting to expand their circles and their opportunities for networking. I want to say a word particularly to young parents. I know you are exhausted by the burdens of full-time work and full-time parenting. And I believe it takes a village to raise a Jewish child. I believe that Holy Blossom Temple can help. We can help you to raise your children with the Jewish values that are important to you. We can be the community that can be trusted beyond the circle of your family and friends. And then there are adults who are burnt out by doing that one hard thing for 2.5 years to steer your workplace through the pandemic, to navigate all those pressures. And finally, now you can catch your breath and look for other outlets for intellectual stimulation or for friendship. And our lifelong learning programs, our Chavurot, are here exactly for that. Retirees, you have skills and expertise that can enrich Holy Blossom and strengthen us further. I know that retirees feel that a number of plans have been undone by the pandemic, whether it's travel or family life. But right here at Holy Blossom, you can find meaningful expressions, whether it's through teaching and mentoring or through leading ritual or offering your expertise in areas of finance or fundraising or social justice or arts and culture. These are outlets that expand life's experiences. And our elders, whether you are joining us online for our daily L'chaim or our bereavement support group, you are not alone. I know that the pandemic has been a lonely go, and that is the core attribute of exile. But you are not alone, and we care about you very much. You may be coming in person this fall for Dorot or for our chess club. It is part of our strategic plan at Holy Blossom to help every congregant, individuals and families at every life stage to emerge from the pandemic in healthy and enriching and meaningful, joyful ways. So it is membership season. If you've listened this far on the video, you already know the value of belonging to a synagogue community. So I'd like to encourage you to invite others to join us. Perhaps a relative, a neighbor, a colleague. There are likely people in your circles who have not yet found a synagogue community to call home and whose lives would be enriched by it. So I'm happy to meet with them, other rabbis, cantors, our school principal, Lisa Eisenbaumel, our membership director, Sass. We would be thrilled to meet these good people you have in mind, and we thank you in advance for making the introduction. Let me conclude with one more word about Tisha B'Av as Shabbat is coming in. Jewish life carried on and even flourished in exile without Jerusalem's temple because new communities formed. New communities are forming. Our online communities, our in-person communities, our Shabbat communities, our volunteer communities, our Chavurot. The ancient rabbis teach that when the temple was destroyed, its stones were flung to the far reaches of the four corners of the earth, and that wherever a stone landed, there a synagogue would one day be established. Well, one of those stones must have miraculously landed here at 1950 Bathurst Street. The floor of our Schwartz-Reisman atrium is made of Jerusalem stone today to remind us of our tie back to Jerusalem, back to the original temple. But Jewish life is not only over there and not only way back then. Vibrant Jewish life is here and now, whenever we make it so. Shabbat Shalom.